Right there, welcome back to the channel. Loads of stuff going off, and as we thought was going to happen, this week is going to be an absolute class one for Manchester United fans because there's just going to be so much action in and so much action out. And one pair that's going to be in and out, I think, by the end of this week is Mazraoui and Wan-Bissaka. And the potential signing of Mazraoui has split the fan base in a way that I haven't really seen for a while over a particular signing. Partially because of the injury, partially because I think Wan-Bissaka had way more love than I anticipated, at least anyway, in the United side, in the United fan base. And Wan-Bissaka as a right back has been, at times, fantastic for United. I always like to say the right tool for the right job. And at times, Wan-Bissaka was absolutely the right tool at the right job. Hey, Zip Pip doing a video, the dickhead. And you don't see players like Wan-Bissaka that are defending first. And this is madness because the guy started as a winger and he's come into the side as this ultra defensive, like almost 5-star skill sort of 1v1 defender. But he is deficient in almost every other area when it comes to being a footballer, although he has improved. And I think over the last couple of seasons, we've seen him being a lot more effective in the final third. He's unlocked whatever it was that made him a Premier League Academy winger at one point in his life. But in the modern era, fullbacks do have to be able to do everything. And fullbacks are de facto playmakers. If you look how often fullbacks are getting on the ball, it's almost as much as any other player on the pitch. And the primary responsibility is no longer defending. And it's not just like an attacking sense where you want to see them in the final third and overloading. They basically need to be playing. Their number six is, they're taking the ball, they're dictating the tempo of play, they're breaking lines, and Wan-Bissaka doesn't have that in his locker, and that's why Dalot was preferred over him. But he did have his uses in those one games when you had a particularly direct winger that you knew was going to try and run you. He is better than Dalot at dealing with that one specific threat. Now, in the video I'm going to do now, I'm going to have a quick look at maybe some of the reasoning behind why Dalot has overtaken him, why we're preferring that style of fullback, and whether or not it would have been the right decision to stick with Wan-Bissaka rather than twist and bring in Mazraoui. So Mazraoui is the shiny new signing, and he is the modern day fullback. He's got comparisons with João Cancelo. He's got that versatility and the adaptability that probably sparked all of those comparisons that you get with him. And United are looking at him probably as a multifunctional fullback, someone that's going to be able to operate multiple positions and make things happen as a first choice. And Mazraoui can do that. And obviously the pros outweigh the cons when it comes to him, but there are cons. And he's worked with Ten Hag in the past, which, what percentage of our signings have actually come from Ten Hag's WhatsApp groups? That I think isn't the most ideal situation that United can find yourselves in with that. But it means he knows the standard. And okay, that didn't work for Anthony, but it has worked with Onana and it has worked with Martinez, and there are examples of it working as well as examples of it not working. And if Ten Hag is trying to push the team towards a play style of control, you do really understand why Mazraoui would come in, potentially even over Dalot, because he is extremely press resistant, very similar to what you're going to get with Lenny Euro. And the signings that we're making definitely now look like they're aligning to the style of play and the philosophy that you think Erik Ten Hag wants to project. And Mazraoui fits that ideology in a way that Aaron Wan-Bissaka simply does not. Now, Wan-Bissaka is still a very good option for Manchester United. 1v1, I actually don't think there's anyone better than him in that 1v1 defensive thing. And he's done it for us year in, year out. I think one of the reasons why we're pushing to let him go is because he's clearly not happy with either his role or his progression or how he sees himself fitting into this team. And I don't think he's going to be getting a contract extension, or maybe the contract extension idea is coming from the club side. But either way, he's only got 12 months left to run on his contract. So with that being the case, it looks like United are going to get something for him while the opportunity is there, rather than wait and see him go on a free. And there's obviously some big differences in, well, all three of those fullbacks, actually, from Dalot to Wan-Bissaka to Mazraoui. And I think styles, when they're completely contrasting, can be really, really complementary. I almost don't think, like, Mazraoui and Dalot are actually quite similar. There's differences, but they're way more similar than, say, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot would be. And I think that's nice sometimes when you've got players that are stylistically different. But Ten Hag seems like he's got this idea of that he wants to play a certain way with players doing a certain thing. And when he was talking about the replacement players coming in and him not wanting to teach a second style of play because those players couldn't play the original style of play, you do kind of get how he's thinking. And I think he would rather have two versions of plan A than a plan A and a plan B. Does that make sense? Now, something that Wan-Bissaka really doesn't have, something that Wan-Bissaka definitely has over Mazraoui is availability. Mazraoui has been injury prone for a long time. The most starts he's had in a season is 26, and that was in the 18-19 season, and that's not a lot. Wan-Bissaka's availability is much better. It's not perfect, but it is, significantly better. He's been there for the times we've needed him, and he's, even this season alone, he featured 30 times. He's also featured in multiple positions. He went left back during the injury crisis, obviously features at right back. So he's probably more versatile than we've given him the credit for. He's obviously not as good on the ball as Dalot or Mazraoui, but there does seem to be a bit of a misrepresentation of what Wan-Bissaka is as a footballer. Now, he was a noticeable weakness in the United side when he was trusted with playing out, but he has improved. Now, he's not improved to the level where you're like, I could trust this guy to be the most press-resistant fullback in the league. That's not the case. But you can definitely trust him. Now, with this being such an important season for us, and with things not going planned the way they didn't last season, half of me thinks that this is a bit of a risk. Not necessarily on the quality front, because I think the quality front makes a lot of sense. But on the injury front, swapping out a pretty reliable player for an injured player does feel like a gamble. Now, I am certain Mazraoui fits what Ten Hag wants more, but you can't pick injured players. So the point of this video really is, like, are we moving away from a plan A and a plan B to a pair of plan A's? And, I think you've got one-of-a-kind style of fullback in Wan-Bissaka. There's not many that can lock down a fullback to the level that he does 1v1. But like I said, there's still weaknesses. Defending a back post when the ball's on the opposite side is almost non-existent, but it feels something you could teach him. It's not a 7th century mystical secret of how to defend the back post. He just needs to turn himself around and see the threat and not be running at the goal. Like, I think you could teach him that. So the things that he's lacking aren't massively fundamental flaws. He's absolutely rapid. He's improving so well. He's getting the hang of the over and underlapping to help his fullback out. I don't know. I'm wondering how much of this has been driven by Wan-Bissaka's desire to maybe not be at Manchester United much longer versus that he's absolutely not a fit for us. Like I said, I think the fan base is split. I think Mazraoui is an upgrade, but I think there's more nuance that we need to look at with it. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments how you think this one's going to shake off, why you think this one's going to shake off, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.